It's been a week. How's it going? I wanted to actually kind of explain what I'm aiming for in these videos. Now, these videos, I want to kind of explain how my 20s are going and how I'm living them, or did live them, or going to live them. So each and every single episode will be either a review of my past, what I'm doing currently in my 20s, or what I project that I'll be doing. This week, obviously, I'm going to just start with where it all started, how I'm living my 20s. And I kind of want to pitch it in a way that I'm like a cool uncle telling his nephew and nieces about all the travel he's done. So, let's begin. All right, so 20 years old. I just graduated from SAIT for mechanics, and I was working at Toyota. Pretty good career path. Now, imagine telling your immigrant parents you want to go back to the motherland to learn martial arts for 6 months. Yeah, it didn't go over very well, but I'll explain my thought process. All right, when we're growing up, we watch a lot of movies. Now, most of us have watched Disney movies. So the dream after graduation is like, let's make a big trip to Disneyland. And a lot of my friends had gone to Disneyland and done that. I, however, did not grow up on those films. Had to catch up like later. But what I grew up on was martial art films from Hong Kong. We're talking about Drunken Master Jackie Chan, Twin Dragon, Bruce Lee, like Ip Man, Donnie Yen. Like, these are the movies I grew up on. So the equivalent of Disneyland to Disney movies for Hong Kong films and martial arts is to go to China for 6 months to learn martial arts. As you can probably tell, my parents did not like the idea of that. They literally spent a majority of their lifetime trying to settle down, give me opportunity in this new land, and I decided to go back. They were very against it. But I knew for a fact this was going to give me an opportunity to grow in ways I couldn't imagine and really develop a love for something that I always knew I had, which was martial arts and the culture and beauty that China could offer. And there's so many stories along the way that I find so funny. Even applying for my visa to get into China was hilarious. I brought my Canadian passport into the administration and kind of explained like, hey, I'm applying for a student visa to go to China and learn martial arts. And the administrator's like, let me get this straight. You as a Canadian citizen want to go to China to study? Like, yeah. Isn't it supposed to be the other way around? And that caught me off guard. I lost it. And we bantered a little bit back and forth, but the administrator more or less like, yeah, it'll be in processing. It'll be to you within 2 weeks. That interaction was just so nice. And fast forward into actually going to China. Obviously, there's still a lot of backlash from my dad, but he finally, after 20 years of not being home, brought up the subject like, hey, when you return from China, would you like to go to Brunei with me? And this is like the day, like I'm at the airport about to leave. This is brand new information. Like, hold on. There's a lot to process here. Number one, yes, I would love to go. However, I'm very much focused on actually, getting to my location because I have to fly into Beijing. From Beijing, fly to a city called Changchun up north. And then from Changchun, I'm taking a train to a smaller rural city called Siping, and then taking a taxi or something to the school. There's a lot for me to handle and think about. But I told him, like, yes, that's great. Let's discuss this when I get back. On to China. It's about a 17-hour flight. I even wrote in my journal. It's the flight number and my excitement. And I get to Changchun, use my Mandarin. My Mandarin's going pretty well. I'm like, hey, how do I get to this train station? Get on the train, and I'm getting my way to Siping. Now I ask an elderly gentleman, hey, like, 请问你知道我们什么时候会到四平吗? Which translates to, hey, excuse me, do you know when we're going to get into Siping? And he responds with, 我不知道, which is, I don't know. Like, wait, hold on. you don't understand me, but I understand you. And I'm just, all he could say was, 我不懂, which is, I don't know. And he couldn't understand my Mandarin. I'm like, what is going on? I thought why can't he understand my Mandarin? And luckily, a younger gentleman beside him said, like, I know when we're going to get to Siping, I'll let you know. I'm like, oh, thank God. I realized later down that it was the accent. My accent wasn't very well understood by the elderly individuals up north. And that was a huge learning curve for me. But I finally get to this Siping, and I'm like, okay, I know I need to get a taxi there. So I bring out the administration papers, like, hey, can you bring me here? I'm like, yeah. So I get into the stranger's car, and we go. Now, mind you, at this point, I've been traveling for about 28 hours, and I've been running off of maybe an hour's sleep because I've been so excited. I'm so tired. And I thought the school was going to be like a 30-minute drive. It was like 40 minutes. I'm like, okay, where the hell are we going? And the guy, my taxi driver, picks up the phone, and at this point I didn't disclose that I didn't know how to speak Mandarin. I could understand everything he said, but he pretty much said in Chinese, hey dude, where's the school? I'm gonna die out here. It's 4 a.m. I'm gonna freeze to death in the countryside of China. I'm gonna die. He's gonna drop me off and I'm just gonna freeze out here. The guy had no clue where he was. And it's 4 a.m. I don't know why I put myself in that situation, but he eventually did find the school. And I called the one contact I had, and he called the school, allowed me to get in and, sleep on their couch in the meantime. And the following morning, it finally hit me. I'm on a continent that I know nobody. I'm a complete stranger. I have no friends. I don't have anyone that I can rely on emotionally. They're not even on the same continent. I have put myself in such a position where I am terrified. I don't know anyone around me. I'm solely on my own. And this is like, it's 20. I'm just about to turn 21, and I decided this was the best path for me. I am absolutely terrified. Family, friends, everyone is back in Canada, and I am all alone out here. Easily one of the most terrifying moments of my life. Being on my own in a completely foreign country, completely entirely different continent. But I made quite a few friends very quickly. And we'll talk about that next week. I hate to end it off like that, but I do want to spend about 10 minutes every week kind of explaining my thoughts and my journey and the people I met in China. Trust me, some of you might recognize them if you properly watch my videos, but I do plan to visit all of them again, and it's been great. So next week I'll be back explaining how I started my 6-month martial arts in China. Freaking Felix. Hi. Do you like that story? Oh, and this map. I'm going to scratch off every country that I visit, and slowly it'll update in a sense of like, hey, when I was 20, I've only been to, if you can see, maybe Canada and Taiwan. And now that I've gone to China, in my stories, I'm going to scratch that off. And slowly but surely, I'll catch up with all my travels and scratch off a total of 30 countries. But with that being said, I will see you guys next week. Hey.